So yesterday we started some of the halachas, and we started talking be'ikah about the yesod of the mitzvah, and of course which oil to use, and the different madregas that we spoke about. That was yesterday. Today, Be'ez Hashem, we want to move on to the wicks as well. But before we get to the wicks, I want to mention a couple of ideas that are important to note legabe the oil, because again, these are shilas that are nageh. You guys are going to be going shopping in the next few days, and you're gonna see Kenai Nahor, the shefa that we have in the world, wherever you are in the world, the shefa that we have of oil, of wicks, of candles, of all different types of makes and versions that they have. Which one do I go for? What do I do? That's the often the common shaila. So one of the very important things you need to have is a hechsha on your oil. There needs to be a hechsha on the oil for a bunch of different reasons. I don't want to go to all of them. I mean, maybe one of them could be trumas and maisas, to make sure that there's no shaila of there wasn't be mafresh trumas and maisas. That could be one of them. A hechsha is rather important, and a hechsha that you recognize. There was a hechsha a bunch of years ago that they were selling oil here in Eretz Yisrael, and the hechsha, someone came to me and showed me this bottle and said, "Do you recognize the hechsha?" It was actually a hechsha from England, and I didn't recognize the hechsha. So if it was a hechsha from America, I didn't recognize, okay. If it was a hechsha from England, I should have recognized it. I didn't recognize it. I said, let me do some research. I called the Beis Din that officially had that stempel on it, had the stamp on it. They said to me, no, it's fake. Please spread the word, it's fake, it's not a real hechsha. And I spread the word. I'm just going back a few years, it was a fake hechsha. Now you've got to be very, very careful, because first of all, the Mishnah Berurah has a suffix. If a person is yotza with stolen oil, by the way, could be in a dormitory, right? You're with the oilam, and I'll just borrow his bottle of oil for tonight because I don't have mine, or whatever it may be. The Mishnah Berurah has a tzarichin. He's not sure whether or not you're yotza if you light menorah with a stolen oil over there. But akaponim with a hechsha is very, very important. Now, congealed is also something that they sell very much. They make pre-made little cups. You buy a package of them, and every day you put a cup, and sometimes they make them congealed. It's a great way of traveling for those people that are traveling, even though traveling on Hanukkah is never advisable. There are two times we always say never to travel: Hanukkah and Purim, right? Because the halachic nafkaminas of traveling, are great, but unfortunately that's the time that everybody travels. So they make these congealed oil cups that are congealed great. They don't spill in the car or in the bus, whatever. So the halacha is that, of course, Rav Vosner talks about in Shevet HaLevi, that those are 100% okay. There's no problem with lighting congealed oil. Now here's another shaila which a lot of people talk about, and there's a big machoikas about it, but there is definitely poskim that say that there's an inyan to get cold pressed olive oil, and you'll see it, right? If you don't know what it is, don't worry, you'll go to the store, Baruch Avram, and you'll see on the oil, it says cold pressed. What is the reason for that? So Mr. Kavenet says an arichas about it, Rav Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal, and others as well, Rav Elyashiv Zatzal, that it could be there's an inyan to get an oil that was doimet to the Beis HaMikdash, that's roila achila, right? And if it's cold press, it's better because it's doima to the mizbech, it's doima to what happened in the Beis Hamikdash, and that's what we're trying to bring out again by the Nes of Chanukah, what was done in the Beis Hamikdash, and that's why we should get kosis, which is cold pressed olive oil. You'll find it in all of the stores over there, and therefore it's roila achila, and there's some miler of that. Some poskim hold there's no miler, right? Shmuel the Ben Ish Chai, the Kaf HaChaim, and others say there's no miler whatsoever in getting roila achila. It goes on both sides whatsoever. By the way, I called up the Badatz one time, Badatz Eides Chavedes, and I asked them the following shaila, because if you buy oil that has a Badatz hechsher on it, often it will say loy la'achila, right, which is not for eating. Now let's say I would like, I'm ready yotza, the hadrin, minimum hadrin, so let me go and buy cold pressed olive oil to be yotza, noch shitas, that will say I'm being yotza loy la'achila. But the problem is I won't have Badatz, a good hechsher, but it says loy la'achila. So they told me, and again, you have to know the mitzias of every single different oil. I'm not saying this is a blanket statement for all oils, but they told me that the very fact that it says loy la'achila doesn't mean it's not loy la'achila. I said, but it says loy la'achila. No, they write loy la'achila for tax purposes. Right? It makes it cheaper, whatever it may be. I don't know if I should say that one. I don't know if I should say this. Okay, whatever. Too late. Because loy la'achila doesn't necessarily mean that it's not edible. It could be it is edible, but they just wrote that for packaging purposes. Or just be diplomatic. For packaging purposes, it's easier. But it could be yotza, the roila achila, in that case over there. Using electricity or gas, you're not yotza, right? There is a shaila, person's on an aeroplane, what's he meant to do? right? Again, the shaila if he's potter maybe because there's no Pesach Habayis. We'll discuss that when we talk about the places of lighting. I was actually one time by Hagoyin Hagodl Rabbi Zul Obach Shlita. I was sitting in the Beis Hara with him, and a Yid came in there that had just recently been let out of prison, and we were going through together all of the shilas that he had to encounter by being in prison. There's all sorts of shilas in the bathroom and making brachas and learning Torah, everything else. One of the shilas was, what does he do on Chanukah? Right? If they weren't allowing him to do that, right now he's allowed to smoke. So they asked Rav Vosner the shaila, are you yotza hadlokas ner Chanukah by lighting a cigarette? I can imagine on the 8th night of Chanukah, what's going on over there? Tzvidov, you're with me on that one. That's kavaldik. Is it the shir? Is it not the shir? How long does it light for? Because be'etzem it's eish. Anyway, it's an interesting shayla. But upon him with electricity, you're not yotze because there's no, the reason why you're not yotze because there's nothing stored over there. It's constantly coming in. And when you light, hadlocha yotze mitzvah, we'll talk about it, Be'ez Hashem, in the coming shurim, you need to have a shir that is stored over there. Let's move on, Rabotai. Let's move on now to the wicks. Again, you're going to see Kanai Nahor, the chef of Klal Yisrael, all the different types of wicks that they sell. You have to know which type of wick to buy. So Lemaisa like this, any type of wick that you buy that's available for sale is 100% kosher for the menorah of Chanukah. Mr. Brewer brings down from the Chayodim and others, it's a mitzvah and a muvcha to use tzemer gefen, right? That's dafka, which most of the stores, that's what they're selling. The Aruch HaShulchan says a person should make nice wicks. People have a hiddur to make their own wicks, right? These are different hiddurim that people have in that case. Just one interesting shaila that come up by the wicks, right? We found this last night. Moedik Shayla, Rabbi say. We have a halacha which we'll talk about. We'll talk about the coming shurim. What happens if the candle goes out in the wind? Very negeya. Do I have to relight it? Was I yotze if I didn't relight it? We'll talk about that, right? There's a halacha. The Gemara talks about it. Machlokes in the Gemara. Halacha lemaisa we paskin. Hadlaka oisa mitzvah. Very important. Hadlaka oisa mitzvah. By the way, some people taina that even though the Gemara says that if you're hazoya bener, which Rashi says is ner Chanukah and ner Shabbos Kodesh, right? Right, having a bonin tamid chachamim, you have bonin tamid chachamim. In fact, everyone on their kasha, everybody in the world asks this kasha. So why isn't all of Klal Yisrael tamid chachamim? Which regular, normal, from person doesn't like Neiros of Shabbos and Neiros of Chanukah? Every from Yid lights that. So every single person in Klal Yisrael should be big tamid chachamim because the Gemara says so. Right? That's one of the most famous questions after the Beis Yosef and after the Pnei Yeshuas and after all the other famous questions that we have on Chanukah. But Akabona, maybe one of the answers, by the way, could be, according to this, that if a person lights it and he holds it there a second and puts it and takes it away, if the wick didn't fully catch fire, it wasn't yotza hadloka oisa mitzvah. And therefore, it could be that's why it wasn't yotza, the skula of Chazal of having a bonin tamidei chachamim. To some shittas hold that way. Person should be careful when he holds the candle there to make sure that the full wick is lit before he removes the shamash or whatever it is that he's using to light the candles. That's very, very important. Yaakov, are you with me? Very important that, because otherwise he's taking it away. Now here's the shaila. If we paskin hadloka oisa mitzvah, which means it's the hadloka, it's the lighting, that's the mitzvah. I dafka went out and bought the most expensive oil, the greatest olive oil, Kossis, it's cold pressed, best haksha, roy lachila, alamailas, and I fill up the cup, more than the share, beautiful, and I have a wick, and I'm lighting the wick. There's a lot of a problem with the types of wicks that you can buy. For example, you see it very much, by Shabbos, also by Chanukah, the red ones, right? It's coated in wax. And you use that. Many people use that. It's very geschmack. It sticks there, stays there, it doesn't flop over, whatever. Beautiful. Now here's the kasha. If hadlaka oisa mitzvah means it's the lighting that's the mitzvah, well, what am I lighting when I light that wick? I'm not really lighting the oil. What's the raya? Here's my raya. Last night I was zoicha to be with a beautiful, wonderful group of the third year Bochrim who were together for a specific reason because they did something gavaldik, mamish beautiful incentive gavaldik. And one of the very, very choshev Bochrim, Zev, who was sitting and he was taking the wick. He took a wick, one of these, it was coated in wax, one of these wicks, and there was no wax there, right? It was just a piece of wick with a little silver piece at the bottom, and he lit it. And I said to him, Zev, tomorrow's shir, gavaldik. For some reason, it lit. There was no oil. There was no fuel. There was nothing, fueling it, but yet it was lit for, 20 seconds, 30 seconds at least, right? It's an amazing thing. I tried this one at home, right? I tried this one as well. I lit a wick without any oil whatsoever. It lit for 20 seconds. So one second, if hadlaka oisa mitzvah means that when am I yotz the mitzvah of Hanukkah when I light it, at that point there's wax over there. So I'm lighting wax, which I'm yotza. I'm 100% yotza. But I want to use olive oil, mitzvah min hamuvcha. I went out and spent a lot of money of olive oil. It waste of time because I'm lighting with wax because the wick is wax. Now I'm not talking about a wick that hasn't got wax. Those are okay. But I'm talking about the ones that have got wax. Right? You with me? Shai, you understand what I'm talking about, right? You understand the kasha? Moish, you got the kasha? Very important kasha. By the way, that's why some people don't use them. They use the wicks that don't have the wax coating. And some people will use them, but they'll drizzle the oil over it so that, or you could just say Poshup Shat Balabatish, that the Maisa, since it's made to schlep out the oil and it will only last that way for the shear, which is what I want to be, Hadlaka Yisa Mitzvah will tell me that that's good enough. I hope the Olim understood the Shaila. We have a lot more to discuss, Rabbi Isai, over this case. One last Shaila and then we'll finish for today. We've got a lot more to do. Do I have to change the wicks every single night? So the Shulchan Aruch Maisa says you should not change the wicks every single night for ket. Right? The Maisa Mishabur brings down it's nicer to use the ones that you lit yesterday, the Kitzah Shlo, the Chasam Sofer and others, say Fakir, that's what they did in the Beis HaMikdash Efsha, and that's why you should not change the wicks every day. It's nicer to use the ones that were already burned from yesterday. However, Lamaisa, many poskim hold, the Kavachaim and others, they bring from a kolboy that way, that Avada, you should switch it every single day. And Rabbi Shtomach and Chuvas brings down two reasons why we dafka should change the wicks every day. Number one, right, and this is brought down, by the way, Moedim Vazmanim Chelik Vav Simon Tzadi Aleph. Rabbi Shtomach says that we do like the Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara in Chulin says that every single day they would change it over there. And the Kolbe says another reason is because it shows that each and every night was a new nace, was a new miracle, which is of course what we're trying to show. Be'ez Hashem, we've still got a lot to do. We've got to discuss the time to light, the location to light, and all the halachas that go together with that. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.